Hey guys, Rob here again with another how-to video. This time we're going to be looking at how to disassemble the action of the gun. So to remove this assembly, and a few people are interested in that because they want to see how they can clean up the action. So what we'll do is we'll get stuck into it. Now I do have the side saddle on the firearm, so I won't be able to show you how to remove the pins, but if you watch my video how to install the side saddle, you will see how to remove the pins. Now the pins to remove is pretty easy. You'll need a punch, and you punch them out from this side. So punch it out, drive it out that way, and drive it out that way. But obviously I've got the bolts there now with the side saddle. So let's go ahead, let's get stuck into that. We'll start by removing the fore end. Put that out of the way. We'll open it up, just check it's clear, and pull that off. And we'll set that aside, and we will start. Now I did actually, since my first video, I did actually go get the Wheeler fat wrench. It is a torque wrench, so I would recommend you go get one if you want to use that to reinstall these when you're done. Now these do have a flathead on the other side, and but you don't really need to do it. You can normally hold it down with your thumb and it should be fine. Now what I would recommend you do, just unwind it a little bit like that. I'm not sure if you can see that. Then you should be able to give it a push and I'll poke it out the other side there. So now that's a bit free, you can go ahead and remove that. So once again, try and push that out. And that one is a bit more stubborn. Might just give it a twist with a screwdriver just to break the seal. I'm a bit sick at the moment, sorry about that, it's probably terrible audio. Okay, when you do remove these pins from your firearm, there is a roller on one of the pins. Be really careful not to lose that roller because I already know about 3 people that have lost them. I lost mine. I didn't lose it when I removed it. I had it with some shotgun shells and I went out hunting, and when I got back I checked the box that I'd left it in, and sure enough it had disappeared. Now when I originally installed these, I did put some Loctite on there, and I certainly would recommend that you do the same when you install yours. Okay, now one thing I'm just going to have a quick look at, you can see here, not sure if the video can focus on there, that wear mark you'll see shortly. And I haven't actually removed this before, so this is actually my first time of pulling the firearm apart, and I believe that's all we need to do. Okay, so once you've got the barrel off and you've got the bolts out, what you need to do is you need to work this forward like that, and you'll see it lifts out now. And to continue removing it, you need to slide the bolt face forward in here. And this part will now be removed. Okay guys, so once you get it to here, it's actually pretty simple. It's the opposite way to what you think. So you'll see this I don't know what you call this, a follower or something like that. It travels up and down these two machined out spots here and here. Now what you want to do is keep this one in this groove, and this one you want to put it up in there. So basically you pull it out, turn it at a bit of an angle. I can't see from this angle. In there like that. Okay. Then you can put the block there, goes in the what do you call it, the ejection port, and then just turn it like so and comes out. Okay, so that's it, that's how it comes out. Now what I thought I'd try and demonstrate to you guys is what's happening when this is in the firearm. So as we know, there's two pins. There's a pin here and a pin here, okay? Now what happens when you've got this in the gun, this pin actually goes through here like this. Okay? And this one's there like that. Now, what you'll see is there's this groove, okay, that's locked in there like that. Now what happens is when you cycle the firearm and open it up, it actually, this rod here is actually rubbing on this screw here. Now what you'll see is this screw has actually a little roller on it as well. You might not be able to see it in the video. There's a pin here, it's got a little roller. Now that roller, when you open the firearm, it's rolling along that roller as it comes back. Now this can be evidenced by the fact that when you look on the underside of it, you'll see that this is quite smooth as opposed to up there. You can still see the machine marks. So you can see it's nice and polished in there. And that's because it's rubbing, like I said, on this roller here, on the opening, okay? On the opening of the action. So if we just put that back together again, demonstrate the next part of it. So you can see the groove. When it's completely shut, it's sitting in that groove there like that, okay? But once you've got it opened, okay, and you're loading the firearm, it's pushing on this rod, and that's rod's what's driving this forward, okay? That's everything that's driving this forward, okay, is on that rod, which is why earlier when I showed you, there's these rub marks on this pin here, okay? Now, with the original pin that comes with the firearm, there's another roller here, just like there's a roller on here. And the idea is that that roller rotates as this drives past. So effectively what should happen is with the original firearm pin, it should actually be smoother because this one has no roller. There's nothing for it to slide on. But just as we mentioned before, you can see along the top edge here is some machine marks and some rubbing from use. Now, my recommendation, and there'll be a video coming very shortly, the only way to make this action a lot smoother is by smoothing out the machine marks here. The faster you can get these machine marks smoothed out on both the underside and the upper side, then the faster you will get your gun to be smooth. Now, there are some people that say that if you back this screw off a bit, you can make it loose. But look, that's free. I wouldn't waste your time with that. There's no, there's a little bit of play there, which means that it's not tight. There's no need to go put any lapping paste or anything like that. I mean, that's free. There's not much more you can do with that, okay? Same with this, that's free. There's nothing more you can do that. And that's loose as, okay? If you wanted to free this one up, you could probably put a little bit of grease in there. Now, there is grease and oil, okay? They've got two different purposes. Oil is a high-speed lubricant, and it's also high maintenance because it dissipates, it spreads, and it doesn't last very long. Grease is a low-speed lubricant, and this is a low-speed gun, obviously, and it's also low maintenance. So if you use grease, it's going to go a lot further than if you use oil. However, some people will argue that grease picks up more dirt, but look, I don't think that that's really the case. The other possibility for smoothing up your action is maybe smoothing out the back of the hammer here. So you can see there's some machine marks there, but you can see some rubbing, and that's where the bolt comes back past over the hammer and pushing the hammer down. I think it might be this part of the bolt there. I don't know the actual workings there. But you can see there that that's got some machine marks and some smoothing out from wear. You could polish that up and that would give you some improvements. Now you can see there's some wear marks on that follower there, or whatever it's called. You could smooth that out and you should see improvements with smoothing that out, because that's obviously rubbing as well. You can see the outside here is relatively polished. The edges here could probably do with a little bit of work, and same with the tops here, could probably do with a little work to improve the way it slides. Now when you come and look at the bolt, you can see some wear marks here, some wear marks here, and a little bit here and here, and along this top edge. Now this doesn't really have any machine marks on it, so to speak. There's some gloss paint there, or some hardening, something like that. I probably wouldn't touch the bolt. It's got minimal contact points there, so there's probably not much room for improvement. You can probably look inside the firearm, and look, it's pretty smooth in there now that it's all disassembled. And so there's not probably too much room for improvement. I probably wouldn't go messing around with your receiver there, because you know it's only aluminium. The more you mess with it, then the faster you're wearing it out. At the end of the day, this is a much harder material than the receiver, so whatever is courses on here is going to affect the receiver in there. So if you wanted to look at slicking it up, so to speak, I would look at removing here, polishing this up, polishing the underside of it as well. Don't neglect the underside, because the underside is just as critical on opening as this one side is on closing. And I probably would definitely look at polishing up the underside, or this side of the hammer there as well, for some improvements, and possibly along here. Now it will be a little bit difficult, because I wouldn't recommend taking out these pins here and here. They are peened over, so they can be very difficult to get out, and then once you put them back in, there's always the chance that they're going to work loose again. So I don't think you need to touch this, because I don't think it's really doing anything, because the hammer sits there. It doesn't, all that goes past here is the shells. So, you know, I would just, that's the things I would certainly consider doing. And you can see there that that's where the bolt is. I'll just chuck this pin back in here. So you can see that there, the piece in the center, that's what's actually rubbing on the hammer to cock the hammer back. So maybe you want to polish that off. I can see mine's actually a bit crooked at a bit of an angle, so I might try and flatten that out. But you can see that's where the hammer is rubbed all the way down the center there on those two contact points. So certainly possibility for looking at for improvements. That would be the place to go to. All right, guys, that's about it. I mean, to put it back together is pretty much the same thing. Believe me, actually remember that this hole has to come up is probably the most important part there. Getting it back in is actually really easy compared to taking it out. Just sort of slide it in there like that, and away you go. So that's it, guys. I don't know what else to tell you. Another video coming. I will show you how to polish these up, and hopefully we can see some really good results. Okay, guys, until next time, keep having a blast, keep smashing your Adlers out there, and let's give it to them. All right, guys, laters.